Emisión.net.
Hello again, welcome to Letter from England, broadcasting for AC Press and the Spanish Evangelical Alliance. She is aged between 30 and 32, was born in Madrid, and with her mother is ready to lay claim to a multi-million euro inheritance as the illegitimate daughter of a Catholic priest, Marcial Maciel. Although Maciel went on to have many lovers, he always provided for this daughter and her mother. Maciel was a Mexican who died last year at the age of 88, and he founded the Legion of Christ, today one of the wealthiest and most influential Catholic groups, when he was 21. The woman's identity is a closely guarded secret, as there are huge amounts of money at stake, not to mention the credibility of one of the Roman Catholic Church's most influential groups. Eventually the Vatican recognized that Maciel was, quote, a great sinner, and in 2006 invited him to retire to a life, quote, of prayer and penitence, invitations which the Pope only extends to the worst of sinners. And although the Vatican has never said as much, the retirement of Maciel was seen as a recognition that the many accusations of sexual abuse against both women and men made about Maciel were indeed true. Many seminary students claim he abused them sexually, but what was not known was that he was also a womanizer who seduced wealthy women in order to get hold of their riches. This secret daughter comes from one of these encounters, and her mother is apparently a wealthy Spaniard whom Maciel seduced when in his 60s. She was brought up under the protection of her father's friends and studied at the Legion's own university outside Madrid. Not only did Maciel pay for her privileged education, but also gave her mother large sums of money to keep the whole thing quiet. Patricio Cerda belonged to the Legion for 25 years. He says that after Maciel's death, the girl and her mother hoped to keep their cosy pension, but the Legion refused. This is when they threatened to reclaim their part of the inheritance. Failing to reach agreement, it seems that the girl has sold her story to a media outlet, and sooner or later it's expected that the story will come out, unless of course the Legion and the family can agree terms, or if the Legion declares bankruptcy to avoid having to pay. Now, why was it the Legion itself that divulged the news of its founder's daughter? Well, Cerda, chairman of the Legion Victims Association, has his own theory. So as to diffuse the effect little by little, and because the Vatican forced them to do so publicly, as the first step towards the refounding of the group, and also because they hope to remove the scandal of paedophilia surrounding the youngest daughter of this secret woman. That one or more children of Maciel's exist is no surprise to Legion members, as his sexual exploits are well known. They are documented in a book by Maciel's nephew, Alejandro Espinosa, now himself an ex-legionary who earlier had fallen into the grip of his uncle. There is indeed a long list of women who were allegedly seduced by Maciel and exploited financially. They were all devout, practicing Catholics whom Maciel came across between the 1940s and 1970s. Talita Reyes was the first. Cerda says she was ugly and much older than him, and she wanted to marry him. Patita Perez was another. He never touched her sexually, but he got money out of her, says Cerda. He spent weeks at the home of Dolores Barroso, who owned a cattle farm. Josefita Perez, from a Venezuelan oil family, gave Maciel a luxurious property in Cannes as a present. But all these pale into insignificance beside Flora Barragan, the richest of Maciel's women, who opened the door to many wealthy families and connections. Espinosa says he met Maciel in the 50s, and that Maciel managed to get a room in the seminary at Rome, a room, he says, that Maciel sometimes shared with her, that is Barragan. The relationship with Barragan ended around 1970 when he had squeezed all her money out of her. Then he threw her out. Her own daughter, Flora Garza, told the Mexican magazine Proceso, "It was incredible how she opened her checkbook for him. She had blind faith in him, perhaps because he was very good looking and had lots of charisma. After she'd given him about $50 million, he left her. She died at the age of 95 still thinking of him and asking him to call. He never did." According to Espinosa, Maciel had many lovers after Barragan, including Italian and Spanish women, and one of them must be the mother of the secret daughter, whose identity may well be uncovered if she lays claim to the inheritance, something which the Legion is not disposed to share. Were they to lose it, the whole institution might be threatened, as it involves a vast sum of money. Further says that its assets can be compared to those of Repsol, a large Spanish oil company, or a similar-sized multinational. Currently, the Legion has 3,250 members, 800 priests, 2,500 seminary students, 127 properties in 22 different countries, and 70,000 followers, almost all of them wealthy. The nerve center of the organization is in Mexico and has been linked by the Wall Street Journal to the magnate Carlos Slim and to the wife of the ex-Mexican President Fox. The Legion also owns various media outlets. In Spain alone they own 10 schools, a university, and 3 seminaries. Various leading figures from society and politics are associated with the group, even though the Legion itself always claims that no membership list exists. Well, the Legion is certainly not short of a penny or two, owning land, property, Swiss bank accounts, schools and universities. Thurber says that 70% of their income goes to headquarters in Rome, where they possess a mausoleum which itself costs 50 million euros. Maciel used to travel to New York on Concorde for a mouthwash and come back the same day, because, as he used to say, time is God's kingdom. Thank you for listening to Letter from England, broadcasting at emission.net. Goodbye.
Emisión.net